As we literally just learned, today's verse is 224, and it goes, Achetyoya madahyoya makletyo sosyevacha nityah sarvagatah sthanu rachaloyam sanatanaha. So, the core meaning of this verse. This is an important one, so make sure you guys are all paying attention here. The soul is unbreakable and incombustible. It can neither be dampened nor dried. It is everlasting, all-pervading, unchanging, immovable, and eternally the same. So I'm sure you guys have all noticed how we've been talking about properties of the soul more often, how the soul doesn't get affected by the 6 stages of material existence, how the soul cannot be cut by weapons, how the soul cannot be wet, the soul cannot be dry, the soul cannot be burned or anything like that. At this point, Krishna is literally just listing properties of the soul. And now we've gone on to a verse similar to verses that we've done before, but that doesn't make it any less important than the other verses either. So the verse before this, verse 23, told us what cannot happen to the soul. Weapons cannot cut the soul. Fire cannot burn the soul. Water cannot wet the soul. Wind cannot dry the soul. And now, in today's verse, in verse 24, Krishna explains why it cannot be wet, why it cannot be dried, why it cannot be burnt, why it cannot be cut. So, the previous verse, it described the impossibility of harming the soul. So, I'd hope you guys know by now, but that the soul is unharmable. You guys can't harm it, do anything to harm it, etc. You know what I mean. So this verse, it describes the nature of the soul that makes such harm impossible. So notice the progression here. 23, the soul cannot be harmed. And in 24, why it cannot be harmed. Krishna is building layer upon layer. Like a teacher who knows that the biggest and greatest truths, they always require repetition from many different angles. If you guys don't believe me, this is actually scientifically proven. Search it up. Okay, Achedya. So, Krishna begins by repeating the first quality from the previous verse. Achedya means it cannot be cut. Why is he repeating that? As I said earlier, repetition helps things stick to the brain, but on another level, because Arjun is quite literally standing on a battlefield. Let's use our brains for a moment here. The first thing he sees everywhere is weapons. Swords, arrows, spears, armor. Everything around him is fully designed to cut. And now Krishna is here and he's reminding him that the greatest weapon upon humanity can still not touch the soul. Nothing, it can do nothing to the soul, even if it's the greatest and biggest and the most sophisticated weapon in the whole entire thingy of humanity. It still cannot touch the soul. That's what Krishna has been emphasizing for a while here. Physical power has its limits. That's another thing that he's trying to convey. No matter how advanced, no matter how powerful, no matter how destructive a weapon becomes, it still remains confined to the material world. Nothing can touch the soul. Nothing can do any harm to the soul. And we have also talked about this a lot of times, so I hope that can get into your brain. And one of the reasons why is because the soul belongs to an entirely different reality. The next word in this verse, adahya, meaning it cannot be burnt. So think about fire. Fire, it changes everything it touches. Food, fire cooks food. This is kind of based off of a real life event. Fire can cause smoke. Wildfires can cause smoke and smog to hover all over a city. You know what I mean? Fire is destructible most of the times, and it also changes everything it touches. Fire can also melt metal. Fire can consume forests, like the big fire happening in Canada at the moment. Fire can turn wood into ash. Krishna says the soul cannot even begin to burn. That's how powerful the soul is. Even fire that can burn down literally almost anything and everything, even fire cannot touch the soul. And this is like truly significant because fire destroys by transforming one thing into another. The soul cannot be transformed. So its essential nature is going to remain forever complete. The next thing here is akledya. Akledya means it cannot be wet. Water also, maybe slowly, but it does change whatever it touches. It can make like metal rust. It can make wood rot. It can make like stones erode. It can cause a huge tsunami. It could cause a flood. It could cause a huge rainstorm. I don't know. Water can do quite literally anything and everything. Water also represents something else. Water is also representing gradual influence here. Most people fear that years of suffering will like permanently damage them and turn them into a huge other person and all that. Like, it's actually a fear. I'm not sure what it's called, but apparently it's actually a fear. Here, Krishna is just offering us a whole nother perspective. Because if you think about it, experiences shape you into who you are, who you're supposed to be. Experiences shape your mind. Experiences shape your personality. Experiences shape your body. But even through all of that, guess what experience cannot shape? Take a guess. Okay, nobody's answering. I'm just gonna answer for myself. Experience cannot change the soul. And that's because there's something within every person that remains untouched beneath every hardship, and that is the soul. Because the soul does not belong to the material world that we live in at the moment. And now, asosya, it cannot be dried. So I think it's kind of common knowledge that rivers can dry. One reason that rivers may dry is because it could be the wind's fault. Time can dry leaves if you really think about it. Like dryness can also symbolize something else. It's just like how water can symbolize like continuity and like continuously. Water can like continuously and gradually change something, whatever it touches. Here, wind can also do that. But it's not exactly the way you think. Wind also has another symbol. Is what I'm trying to say. Dryness often symbolizes depletion. Because if you think about it, exhaustion, burnout, emptiness. Have you ever, okay, this is probably something that we've all experienced, so I'm not even gonna ask, have you ever said? I know all of you guys at some point of your life, you guys have felt like completely drained, completely burnt out. Krishna would most likely agree that the mind can very often feel drained. The body can become exhausted, emotions can become depleted. But within all of that happening, guess what? The soul never loses its fullness. Its existence is never reduced. I'm gonna be a little poetic here. Its light never dims. That's because, as I've said earlier, nothing in the material world can affect the soul, which is in a whole another realm. So, Krishna now has given 5 positive qualities. So, until now, Krishna has mostly explained what the soul is not. He says the soul cannot be wet, the soul cannot be dried, the soul cannot be harmed by weapons, the soul cannot be cut, the soul cannot be burnt. All of that is saying what the soul cannot be. So now it's time for what the soul is, or what the soul can be. First comes nitya, meaning eternal. The soul, this might be a little difficult to comprehend, but the soul exists beyond time. Time changes everything material. I'm sure we all know this. Time changes people. You might get wrinkles, you might get shorter, old age, all of that, Time changes people. Time changes places. Think about that abandoned barn you might have seen outside. See, now time changed that. You can most likely say that the reason it's abandoned is because of time. Not all times, but most. Children become adults. Stars eventually fall out. They may become black holes. I don't know, I'm not educated in this, so don't ask. Even civilizations rise and fall. Like, we've seen this in the past, the Greeks, the Romans, all of that. Those civilizations rise, and they fell. And buildings become ruins, and oh my god, the soul, guess what? It does not. The soul is like doing amazing in all aspects of life. Like, the soul is present before birth, the soul is present during life, the soul is present over death. Time flows like around the soul. It's as if like the soul could not like care. The soul does not care. Time flows around it. The soul is just completely unbothered. The soul does not care. It's untouched. Like, it does not flow with time. It's because I've mentioned this multiple times already. I hope you guys have heard enough repetition to get this into your head. It's because we are living in a different realm that the soul is originally from. So, that means the soul is fully eternal. Next, Krishna describes the soul as sarvagata, meaning all-pervading. Now, this is where it gets like completely difficult. I really truly mess up with this part too. This phrase has inspired centuries of philosophical discussion. So, okay, at first glance, I'm not even gonna lie, it looks kind of boring and it seems to suggest like a limitless presence, all of that. But Krishna, he goes on and teaches that consciousness is not confined in the simplistic way that material objects are. Just as space allows every object to exist without like the object feeling that it's divided, the spiritual principle underlying life is not limited like physical matter. And this reminds Arjun that reality is far greater than what the senses alone perceive. I hope that wasn't too difficult to understand, because here comes the actual difficult part. Even I got stumped on this, so be careful. There are many interpretations on Sarvagata. We're only going to do two today, as we've done usually, Sankaracharya's and Ramanujacharya's. So, Sankaracharya, he sees this as understanding that the self in its highest nature is all-pervading consciousness. Consciousness is not just trapped inside the body, rather the body appears within the consciousness. And this radically changes identity. Instead of thinking, I am a body that possesses consciousness, Sankaracharya, he reverses it. He thinks the other way. He thinks, I am consciousness experiencing a body. Yet on the other hand, however, Ramanujacharya, he interprets this differently. He teaches that individual souls remain distinct. All-pervading points to the soul's capacity to exist beyond ordinary material limitations, and it's present all throughout the body, which always depends on the Supreme Lord. For example, I'm not sure if you guys knew this yet, but the soul is actually like teeny tiny, like, okay, I'm gonna make a little example here. Imagine like one of my bangs, okay? I know this is a lot of hair, you probably can see it. Imagine just one strand of hair, this tiny strand of hair, you guys probably can't even see it. This tiny strand of hair, imagine cutting that hair into 10,000 pieces. Now take one of those 10,000 pieces that you've cut, and then cut that one piece 10,000 times again. The soul is even smaller than that. Like, that's so difficult to believe. And that small, teeny tiny, microscopic soul is inside of our hearts. I'm not even gonna lie, that sounds kind of cute. So, when it's inside our soul, it's like, I'm not sure how to explain this. It's found everywhere in the body. And that's why, like, for example, if you accidentally, like, bump your hand into a wall or something, that's why you can feel the pain. That's how you can feel the pain in your hand. Imagine, coming from experience, imagine you accidentally hit your head within a wall. The soul, the atma, the soul is found everywhere. So that's how you're getting that feeling. Oh my god, I just got hit in the head by a walla. That's how Ramanujacarya sees it. Anyways, that's how I interpret Sarvagata, and that's how I'm gonna explain that the others interpret it. Moving on, Sthanu means steady. This is another important one. Pay attention, guys. So this, don't mind that voice crack. This word means firm, stable, reliable, steady. Imagine an ancient tree. Imagine a tree that has stood through countless seasons. Storms came, snow fell, the leaves fell, floods, water, all of that. But despite everything that it's been through, its roots remain deep. Here, Krishna says that the soul possesses an even greater stability than those roots. Isn't that crazy? Like, isn't that crazy to imagine? Circumstances, they may change endlessly. For example, put yourselves in the shoes of a centuries-old ancient tree. Imagine you're getting hit by literal storms, waves, water, snowstorms, blizzards, leaves falling off, anything you can imagine. All of that. Yet, you're still stable. Circumstances, it may change endlessly, but just because the circumstances are variable does not mean that the soul loses its essence. And last but not least, I believe? No, not last. That's sad. Next comes immovable, Atala. This does not mean that the soul is like physically frozen. It means that the soul's essential nature, it never shifts. It's like, you could say it's steady. I'm not trying to copy the other one, but you could say that the soul's nature is steady. It doesn't shift. Our opinions change, our mind space change, our styles, our aesthetics, our faces, our bodies, our personalities, all of that may change. Yet the deepest witness behind all of that experience, our soul, remains unchangeable. Krishna points that out to show that no matter what happens, the soul is still unchangeable, and it's still gonna remain the same thing. Now, lastly, last but not least, Sanatana, meaning eternal forever. Now, you guys have probably heard this word in Sanatan Dharma. So, Sanatan means eternal forever. Sanatan, yeah, I've said that at least twice. I'm sure you guys get it by now. So, this final word, Sanatana, means eternal, beginningless, and everlasting. So, it's why Hinduism, I already said this, it's why Hinduism is called Sanatan Dharma, the eternal way, because it is eternal, beginningless, everlasting, and steady. That's another word you can use. Unchanging, another. All of these just tie into each other if you truly think about it. The soul does not simply last a long time. No, the soul belongs to literally eternity itself. There was never a moment when the soul was born. There's never going to be a moment where the soul dies. So that's why the soul is eternal forever. It's always going to be there. So, it's time to go ahead and imagine stories that probably aren't even real. So let's go ahead, close our eyes, and imagine the sky above your city. If it's kind of smoky right now, that's kind of because of the wildfires happening in Canada. That's besides the point. Imagine the sky above your city. clouds appear, storms arrive, lightning happens, smoke fills the air, airplanes pass, helicopters may pass, birds pass. I don't know what else can happen. Think of anything else that can happen. Fireworks may explode. All of that. Yet, none of these leave permanent marks on the sky itself. Think about it. Has the sky been permanently marked by clouds? Has the sky been permanently marked by rain, thunderstorms, lightning? No, it has not. The sky remains vast, open, unchanged. So, our minds, they are often like the weather all around us that we very obviously feel. Our bodies are like the landscape below. Krishna says the soul is like the open sky. Even though our minds change, even though our bodies change, it never leaves anything permanent on the soul. So the open sky, or our soul, is always present, it's always unchanged, and it's always untouched by every passing storm that there could ever be. I have talked for a very long time, so unfortunately we are going to go ahead and skip the summary today. That is all for today. Bye-bye.